There, in this tutorial, I'm going to discuss about concept and we will configure send connectors in Exchange Server 2010. So send connectors, what basically they are, the send connectors represent a logical gateway through which outbound messages are basically sent. This is a kind of a logical gateway where everything, the outbound message will be sent through from it. Send connectors are configured on the computers that are basically running Microsoft Exchange Server 2010 and that have Hub Transport Server or Edge Transport role installed. So either it will be a Hub Transport Server or Edge Transport Server. Send connectors are going to configure on it. So Edge Exchange 2010 Transport Server requires send connectors to deliver message to the next hop on the way to their destination. For example, if we send a mail and if we want to deliver a message to the next hop, it goes through the send connector. It will require send connector to deliver the message to the next hop on the way on their destination. Whatever destination it will be, it will go through the send connectors only. By default, no explicit send connectors are created when the Hub Transport server role or the Edge Transport server role install. So whenever you will open the send connectors of Hub Transport row or Edge Transport row, server row, you won't find there is anything by default created, but it is created. However, it will be implicate an invisible send connector that are automatically computed on the Active Directory site topology, which actually used to route message internally between Hub Transport server. So it's not that send connectors are basically not created. It is there, but it is invisibly. From send connectors only, we're able to send message to whatever destination we want to. So when we reach to Exchange Server 2010, you will find that there is no sort connector created, but we already did a lot of videos in Exchange Server 2010, and when you found that we sending a message, so definitely there is send connectors there. That's why we are able to send a message. Definitely that the message has been reaching to some destination, so that is there. That's why it may not be visual in the system, but it was there in visually. Now, scenario where you need to manually configure send connectors, where the scenario is of the send connector. Internet facing Hub Transport server, for example, you now have Edge Transport server and you're passing the message, you're just sending a message through internet facing. We already discussed that if, for example, you for some reason now want to use Hub Transport server, now wants to use Hub Transport server for commercially reason, so you have to pass you have to push your message and you have to expose your Exchange server in the internet facing. From that way only you able to either receive or send mail. So your entire Exchange server either will be connected to the internet, then only it will be possible. So either for that reason or unsubscribed Edge Transport server also require manual configuration of connectors to establish end-to-end mail flow. For example, you have unsubscribed Edge Transport, you have in the particular infrastructure, but it's unsubscribed not working, then you have to configure the connectors to establish end-to-end mail flow. Now it's time to reach to our Exchange Server 2010 to basically create the send connector. Let's go to our Exchange Server 2010. Now we have reached to Exchange Server 2010 And now I'm in the Microsoft Exchange on premises, and an organization configuration. This is what by default it is. And when we open the Microsoft Exchange and then Microsoft Exchange on premises, the first option will be there on organization configuration. When I click on it, you will be open with this particular tab. Currently there is no item to visible, but we basically wants to create the SAN connectors, so that is the part we want to go through it. So the organization configuration, we're going to click, and we have the hub transport. We have SAN connectors now. When you click on it, you find there is no item to show and visible, but we have already did send a mail. So this is what said, but by default we're not visible, but invisibly it will be there. From that only be able to create, from that only be able to send a mail. So we're going to create the SAN connectors. We're going to right click SAN connector, and the option will be visible to us. And this will be the first step, new SAN connector. You can read about the introduction of SAN connector. What are those? We just need to put out the name of any SAN connector. So we're gonna do that. We say new, or for example we say new 1 SC. Now you can see there is intended use for SAN connectors. You have 4 way. Either you go with the custom, you say it's internal, for example, and it's for the infrastructure environment internal, or it's internet, for example, internet facing one. So you can go through the internet, or partner, for example, you have configured for the partner from where the entire message go through it, so you can select the partner as well. For the internal way, it's for the inside of inside of the infrastructure environment, and that will be the way to go through infrastructure environment. Or for example, if you select the internal way, if you have if the edge transport is missing, you want to phase your internet, you want to phase the entire Exchange server from the internet way, you can go through select with the internet. That's selecting internet. Now the address space, the specified space you want to route the mail. So when you go with the add button, will be ask you with the SMTP. Now here you need to provide the address, the internet, from where you have to from where this particular message needs to be get from the internet. So you need to provide the particular address. Either it could be you as per whatever you have contacted with in real environment. Here at this moment we are putting star over there, that this is for our addresses, and this is not, we not have any contact we created, and not create any contract, and that this is what our mailing one, this is what our particular divert route that our mail would go through it. Now once we put the star over there, we need to provide the network settings, select how to send mail with this computer. So there's 2 way again, either use the domain name system DNS MS record to route mail automatically, or route mail through the following smart host. If the smart host is there, it needs to provide the IP address. Now again there will be a criteria from where this particular message needs to be go through the route way. So you need to provide the IP address or fully qualified domain name according to that, and that is basically totally based on your infrastructure dealing, how you have done the deal to bypass your mail system. So we as of now have keeping this thing just because we as of now have not are in the real infrastructure environment. That's why putting this thing out of the equation right now. But you have the option again to add smart host all the time. So there is the IP address. I'm just canceling this, or this is what the example. For example, if any gateway over there available, I'm just putting the by default one. You can also use the external DNS lookup, which is always helps you. So that is again possible in your way. Now what we're going to do is going to create new send connectors, and where the source server will be. Now the source server in our case will be the same Exchange server. In infrastructure environment you have a lot of Exchange server, so as of now there will be the same source server. We could add more if you have already, but since we don't have, that's why it's showing the same one. But then putting nest, and it will be start showing and providing as the configuration summary, and you can see there is a configuration summary, and within some time it will start reflecting and we will start creating. So a new send connector is created, and according to what we can say about that, this is if for example you have any mailing system, you have any mailing rules to create, you can create it. Command you can see out there in the summary part as well. For example, you want to create a new send connector from EMS in your future, you can always do that from same way. So this is what the this is how we can create basically the send connectors, and a new rule will be created, a manual rule which you have created. You can see it start reflecting now on your system. So I hope you learned something about creating a new send connectors. Thanks for watching.